Hi friends. So today I want to talk about a couple of things. So it's important for us to guard our heart and be selective of who we have in our lives. And a lot of times too, when we meet someone and as we get to know them, you find out that they're not who you thought they were. Because a lot of times, even the scripture says, they come to you, they're wolves, but they come to you in sheep's clothing. So let's start with that first. Because I have a friend who has been with her partner, I think over a year at least, and they just recently, this is what made me bring this up today. It was a really sad story, but she's been with her boyfriend for over a year, and they just had a baby. The baby is like a month old, right? And after the baby's born, she finds out that he's seeing someone else on social media. He's openly flirting now. Like, it's just ever since they had the baby, he just changed, right? And it's so sad because sometimes, not everyone, but sometimes, like when you have a child, I guess, maybe the person feels like, oh, my partner's not gonna go anywhere, so I can do what I want. So maybe their true character comes out. I don't know. But it was just really sad to hear that, and they broke up basically. But so her story just made me think of this today, and it's really sad, but we have to be able to judge someone based off their character, and we have to base them from their fruit, right? So I just felt real bad for her. And then the worst part, I think, after you have a baby, and if someone cheats on you after you have a baby, I think that's the worst time, especially when you're after baby and during, because you're not yourself. You don't have the body that you used to have. Your hormones are all over the place, and then they're interested in someone else that hasn't had a baby, that's not going through what you're going through. And then especially if you have a child, because you're stuck with their baby for 9 months in your belly, so it's not like you can date and move on. You can't do anything. That's like the worst. I think that's the worst, one of the worst times, right? So I just felt really bad for her, and I hope she finds healing and finds peace. And I was giving her this message today when I found out about it. But the first thing is, I think it's important for us. That's why I love the scripture. It teaches us everything about life and how to navigate this life. Like, how is the scripture able to help me relate to this story? You know, see how fascinating it is? Like, so for example, if we look at Matthew 7 verses 15, and we've talked about this before, but it says, beware of false prophets, which they come to you in sheep's clothing, but inside they are raving wolves. So this story right here was pertaining to false prophets, but you can use it for your own personal life too. Like people that are, they're not representing themselves correctly, right? They're not showing you who they really are. They're hiding, they're underneath the mask, as they say. They're hiding behind a mask. So people like that. So it says that they come to you in sheep's clothing. So they act a certain way. Maybe they pretend like you have the same morals, or they pretend to act like have a certain character, but really inside they're raving wolves. Raising wolves, like we talked about last time, is a ferocious wild lion. So inside they're like not good of character, not good fruit, but then on the outside they're in sheep's clothing. So that's one of the messages I sent her today too. I was like, you have to be able to guard your heart, and you have to be able to understand people's fruit, the fruit of the Spirit. So the first thing I think is important for us to do is beware of the people that come to us in sheep's clothing, but inside they're raving wolves, And the way you do that is because of their fruit of the Spirit, their character, their morals. That's how you define them. And then also, it's also important for us to guard our heart. It's important to not give your heart to everyone. You have to get to know the person, make sure you know their character, your future is aligned, your goals, everything's the same, And sometimes at the beginning too, people will pretend like, oh yeah, we have the same goals. They'll try to match up with you. And then you find out years later, it's never been the same. I don't think that's right. I know what happens though, but I don't think that's right. I understand people have a change of heart and they're allowed to have a change of heart. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you felt like that from the beginning, you should tell the person, because you're stopping them from finding their person. You know, that's just not right. Like, that wouldn't sit right with me. If I didn't have any interest in someone, I can't pretend and waste their time. If I know I don't have, like, if I don't have any plans for them, I don't see myself with them, because I want them to find their person. I want them to find their person. So that's just, I think it talks volume. It speaks volume of your character to do that, to be okay with that. That's not right. The second one we talked about, it says, do you have to guard your heart? You have to be careful who you give your heart to. So after we figure out, are they a sheep, and are they wolf coming in sheep's clothing? After we figure that out, like, are they who they say they are? You know, once we verify that, it's important to take our time and guard our heart, right? If we look at Proverbs 4, verses 23, it says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So there's a lot that goes on in life, everything, right? So you have to be careful what you put in your heart and what goes in your mind. Like what you watch, who you're around, who you love. You have to guard it and protect it, because once you love someone and you're in love with them, it's hard to break that free. It's hard to break free from that. So you have to be very careful, you know. And a lot of times, sometimes you can't get away from it, because the people that are coming after you for the wrong reasons, they'll take their time. They'll take their time and be patient with you, give you as much time as you can, and then until you love them, I guess. I don't know, but it's just, we have to try to be more mindful and guard our heart. Look at someone's fruit. Just really, really sad story. Oh, let me show you that verse. So that's Proverbs 4, verses 23. And basically it says to guard your heart. Yeah. So, and then I think it's important to, when we go through heartbreaks, a lot of times it's hard for people to end relationship, because maybe you've been in it for so long, maybe you have a family. So it's hard for you to move on, because you maybe don't want to start over. Maybe you've been together for years, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and it's hard to start over. So the one thing I think we should work on, which I'm really great at because I took time to work on it, is you have to have an abundant mindset. You have to have an abundant mindset. You can't live in lack, right? So if you go through a breakup or something like that, you can't idolize your partner and say, they're my life, they're my world, I can't live without them. You're supposed to say that for God, not a human being. They're not your everything. Because when you do that, you also become a burden. It's too much weight on you. You can come off as needy. I'm sorry, but you can come off as needy, or you can become a burden, because it's too much. Like, it's too much for a human being to handle. You're my everything. You're my world. I can't live without you. No, that's too much. You need to stop that. You need to stop that. You're supposed to give all that energy to God, not another human being, right? You're supposed to give all that to God. God is first, right? And then after God, you take care of yourself. Right? You have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't be a best version of yourself. You can't be a good parent. You can't be a good partner. You can't be a good student. You have to take care of yourself. You have to do self-care. You have to take care of your mind through meditation. You have to take care of your soul through scripture. You have to take care of your body by eating healthy and walking. You have to take care of yourself first, whatever you love to do, right? Whatever your self-care is. So we have to make sure that we don't make our partner our world, and we can't idolize him. And the scripture talks a lot about idolizing too. You can't idolize. God is the only one that should be idolized, right? So you can't say they're my world, I can't live with them. You can't do that, because that's too much pressure on them. You become a burden, and no one likes that. You become needy, right? And you're supposed to give all that. You're not supposed to give all that power and energy to them. You're supposed to give it to God. God should only have that, not another human being. They should not be your everything. You should have your own life and do things that you love to do, right? And when things do happen, you go your own way, it's important to have an abundant mindset. You have to tell yourself, You can't tell yourself, oh, this is the only relationship I'm going to have. No, that's not true. That's not true. You're saying that because that's what when you say that, you're going to believe it. Because the scripture also says, a man, which is a spirit, is as he thinks in his heart. So you can't say, this is the only relationship I'm going to have. This is the best relationship. You cannot say that. You cannot say that, because you have to have an abundant mindset. You have to say, oh, if this man or this girl is not for me, that means God has something better for me. That means he has a 2.0 for me. You know, you're supposed to be excited. You're supposed to be like, God has a 2.0 for me. That's what that means. It doesn't mean this is your only option. No, because you're supposed to be equally yoked. If you're both not matching and it's not working, that means that's not your person. And that's so absolutely fine. You wish them well and you move on, right? And it's important for us to do what Proverbs 2 verses 5 says. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. It's important for us to not try to understand, why did it end? What happened? What could I do differently? There's nothing you could have done differently. You have to lean to your own understanding. It's not for us to understand. It's bigger than us. It's probably for a bigger purpose, right? A lot of times heartbreak is good. The heartbreak sometimes is good because it helps you work on yourself. It helps you, if you learn from it, it helps you work on yourself. It helps you become a better version of yourself. And it helps you, maybe you'll start exercising better, because at the time you're probably thinking, oh, I'm going to get revenge. I'm going to start looking good, outside and outside. You start taking care of yourself. You start reading the scripture. You become a better version of yourself. And then when you become the better version of yourself, and I was just telling my friend, they always come back. They come back. And then when you're the best version of yourself, you're not even going to want them, because they're not all going to be on the same page anymore with you, because your mindset's different. And if they show you their character, you don't want to be around someone like that anyways, right? You shouldn't. No, don't do it. So it's important for us not to lean into our own understanding. Have an abundant mindset. If this doesn't work out, that means God has a 2.0 for me, right? Even for me, I'm engaged, right? I tell my fiance, I was like, if it doesn't work, it's fine, because that means God has a 2.0 for me. And sometimes he gets upset with me, but it's the truth. That's how I feel. And it's not because you're not sad. Of course, you'll be sad about the relationship, your flesh, because you love the person, you care about them, but you trust God more. That's what's important. You trust God more. If this person's not for you, that means there's a 2.0 for you. And you get excited to meet that 2.0. And all you have to do is ask God to protect your heart. Make sure your heart's okay. You always say, God, protect my heart. Make sure my flesh is okay. Make sure I'm going to do okay. I know I trust you, Lord, but help me just be okay. Let my flesh be okay. That's all you have to ask if you're going through that. So it's important for us to lean not to our own understanding. I love the scripture, and you can even apply it to anything in life too. It's lean not to our own understanding. It's not for us to know. And it's too big for us to know. Maybe the heartbreak is necessary for you to grow into your destiny. Maybe it's a lesson for you to learn, for them to learn. Whatever it might be, it's for a greater purpose that you don't understand and you're not supposed to understand. You're supposed to just trust God. And I'm telling you, your life after that will be amazing. Amazing. You're going to meet your 2.0. You're going to meet your 2.0. You're going to level up and you're going to be amazing. And you're not even going to think about what happened before. It doesn't matter. To me, anything happens in my life, I'm okay. It doesn't matter to me, because I trust God. I know it's where he wants me to be at that moment. You have to trust the process. You have to trust the process. You have to be so strong in your faith that you trust the process. All right, let's look at that, friends. Yeah, see? I love how the scripture just tells you everything about life. Like, I heard this story this morning about my friend. I didn't think I was going to have, I know the Bible solves everything, like it tells you everything, but I didn't think I would have the answers. Put them two and two together, and I already knew these by heart, which is even more amazing. So what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to look at their fruit. That's how we find out if someone's coming in, if there's a wolf coming in sheep's clothing. If someone's wearing a mask, you're supposed to look at their fruit of the Spirit. There's 9 of them. There's joy, love, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Those are the characteristics characteristics. Those are the characteristics we're supposed to look for in a partner. The fruit of the Spirit is what we're supposed to look for. Okay, friends? So ask God. I pray God that gives her peace and healing and help her go through this hard time. Because I know it's a very hard time, you know, especially with the new baby. It seems like a nightmare, but I know she'll be okay. She'll be okay. And I always tell her, you know, I'm here for you, girl. Here's that. All right, friends. Well, I hope this helps. Bye, friends.